Yo, 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 hello, and welcome to the 1218 Show. My name is Mike Wilson. I am your host. This is episode 3. I'm going to title it The Better One. That's kind of my joke because after going through the first 2 episodes, I've noticed that I have some tics and some habits, things that have sort of come back. I haven't been on stage or performed much at all, really, since before the pandemic, so it's been a few years, and I noticed that I have some bad habits and some tics, lots of uhs and ums and ahs. So I want you to know that I am conscious of those. I am going to make a real effort and practice and get better so that you don't have to listen to my annoying habits. They annoy me, so they have to annoy you, or they may not. But I don't want to listen to them. So I am going to continue to work on that. My website is up. I don't know if I've said this yet or not, but if you go to the1218show.com, you'll be able to get the information, anything that I'm working on. You can also get the links to the podcast itself. That you can stream the podcast from the website. You can stream it to Apple Podcasts, and you can watch it on YouTube. Well, one of the three platforms is the way it's running right now. I may get another one up there or 2, but I'm excited about the website. It's still a work in progress. It's brand new, but I had a professional guy that I know that works in design, digital design. He's an artist, and he designed the logo for me. So the logo is pretty cool. So check it out if you get a chance. Go to the 1218show.com and check out the new logo. If you ever need anything done for yourself, I can put you in contact with the guy's name's Darren that put together my podcast. So shout out to Darren. I mean, not my podcast, my logo. So shout out to Darren. That's pretty exciting. So I'm happy about that. Let's see. Next, I did address the bad habits thing. So this is going to be. I'm going to make a conscious effort to do that. I can't promise that I'll always be able to avoid it, but I'm going to do the best that I can. If you haven't got the book yet, there's 2 books actually, but the one I'm plugging today is Everybody Knows by Mike Wilson. It's on the Amazon.com, so check it out if you haven't yet. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to have my first guest, which I'm also very excited about. I won't disclose who it is yet, but so 2 weeks from this week, we're going to start having guests as often as I can. I think the guests will be a fun direction to go. Interview people and do the different talk about different professions, lives, whatever. I've lived in New York now for over 20 years, and I work in the bar business. And I'll tell you, man, I've met a lot of interesting people with a lot of interesting jobs, and I think that we're going to have some really cool interviews and things to go about. So my first one will be in 2 weeks. Let's look forward to that. And I'm actually going to travel a little bit to do the interview, but I promised him that he would be my first. So I'm excited about that. Moving on. I want to talk today about time. Time is an interesting topic. There are many facets of it. We will talk about it. It'll be kind of a recurring subject throughout the show that I want to address, and I want to explore all the different aspects of it. I've been thinking a lot about time recently because there's the more morbid side of time is that we're all on a clock, essentially, right? We all have an expiration date. We just don't know when that expiration date is. That's a strange thing to think about, and it's rather dark. But I want to talk about time as an asset, because assets are interesting to me. They have I have nephews and nieces and a lot of young people in my life, and the one thing that I as an uncle or an elder in their family, I'm constantly plugging to them, talking to them. I'm sure I annoy the hell out of them, but basically begging them to save their money, to invest it. And I think, I think that we're going to talk about investments a lot throughout this podcast as well. Money, how to spend it, how to more so how to not spend it. And I know it's a boring topic for a lot of people, but I actually don't think that it's boring if you look at it through fresh eyes. A lot of people, they get bored because they say, well, stop buying Starbucks every day. You'll save $600 a year, and they come up with all these different things, and everyone's heard all the anecdotes, and those are all actually true, and they're fun. But how? Excuse me. But to talk about them in real world with people that love, trust. I'm lucky in that I know homeless people. I have conversations. I'm on a first name basis with homeless people, all the way up to multi-millionaires and everything in between. If you don't know, or if I haven't mentioned yet, I've worked behind a bar for over 25 years. The majority of that in New York City, and I have literally covered, met, and am friends with all walks of life, everything in between. So one of the things that is a running theme is that nobody ever seems to have enough money. They're never comfortable enough, and I'm part of that group. I didn't start really focusing on learning about how money actually works till maybe 10 years ago. I piddled around here, piddled around there, and I had the young, kind of silly, arrogant mentality that, well, I can always make more, And, when you're young, that's how you think, and it can be true, but there's still no reason not to prepare that, what if that isn't true? What if it's not just that easy? I think making smart financial decisions starts at a very, very early age. And I think that we can groom the future. We can groom our young people. My grandfather used to always, 10% of your paycheck goes into a savings account. Now, he came from the Depression era, and they hoarded their money because they really knew what it was like to go without. That's a different world than what these kids are growing up in today. And I want to talk about time as an asset, and this is, again, we're going to talk about this several times over several different podcasts in different facets, because time is such an interesting thing. I read a quote recently, and I don't know who it was by, and I feel bad that I can't give credit to it, but the quote was, wealth, and I'm not saying we should all be wealthy. I just want everyone to stop having to stress about money. That's right. I mean, that's a major stress in most people's lives, and I have done plenty of stressing about it myself. So as I continue to get my ducks in a row, I'd like to go on the journey with you. But the quote was, wealth is not a dollar amount. It is an accumulation of sustainable assets. And I love that quote. It was very poignant. It's right on point, actually. If you win the lottery tomorrow and get $2 million, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to piss it away, spend some stuff, do whatever, or are you going to place that within assets that can sustain an income over time? Passive income. Passive income's a topic that we're going to talk about again in other podcasts. I have some finance people that'll be on the show at some point too. People that have done very well, and some of these people have come from nothing, and so that they're exciting to talk to, because when you grow up as humbly as some of these people have, the the back end of it, climbing out of it, learning how to climb out of it, and then changing the mentality of how to do it is a key. So, and to talk about this today, so we have, I'm about halfway done here. We got about 6 minutes left. I want to throw a riddle out there, and so back to time. Time is an asset, but it's an asset. It's one of the few assets that can be called an asset because it dwindles. It actually decreases in value with every passing day, right? If you start, saving your money or investing or whatever, at age 50 versus age 20, the results are going to be drastically different. So time is an asset, but the younger you are, the better it is. It's kind of a strange way to look at it, because you think, well, then it's not really an asset, but it is. Time is actually your best asset the younger you are, because if you use it properly. And then again, we're going to talk about it from life, love, all the other things that time, how you should spend your time enjoying life, and all those things. But right now we're just talking about finance, and I use this riddle, so I want to share this riddle with you and have you think about it. That when I'm talking to my nephews, when I'm talking to the young people in my life, I want to I make it gets people thinking, and we talk about. I use it oftentimes at the bar as well. So you have a pond, okay? A lake, a pond, whatever, a body of water, and on the body of water is a lily pad, okay? You've seen lily pads, like little frogs sit on or whatever. So every day that passes, the lily pad doubles. The number of lily pads double. So on day 1, there's 1 lily pad. On day 2, there's 2 lily pads. On day 3, there's 4 lily pads. Day 4, there's 8 lily pads, and on and on and on. Every day, the number of lily pads double. Now, on this body of water, on day 30, can be any day, let's say day 28 day. For the riddle's sake, day 30, the lake is full of lily pads. There's no more room for lily pads. So on day 30, the lake is full of lily pads. On what day was the lake half full? So I think about this, I use this riddle because it's interesting for people to kind of explore the idea, and it's not all you have to do is work the problem backwards, right? If you think about the fact that it doubles every day, then what day was it half full, and work backwards. And so think about it yourself. I don't want to give you the answer right up here. I want you to think about it. So once you've kind of figured out the answer, now apply that to your youth and financial well-being. If you start saving / investing at age 20 versus starting when you at age 35, and then you apply that lily pad scenario, think about the difference of what your accumulation will be at age 60. Or age 50, whatever day you want to retire. You can retire early if you start young. I mean, you can probably, by the time you're 35, if you start and aggressively put your money into sustainable assets at age 20, as opposed to buying clothes and cars and whatever. And I made these mistakes. I'm not preaching from a, do what I did. I'm preaching from a do what I didn't do perspective. I don't. Where are we at here time-wise? Okay, we're getting close. So I don't want to pretend that I have not been in these boats, but we all don't. All the adults always say, I wish that the young people would listen to me. I want them to learn from my mistakes, and we hope that. But a lot of times we don't. So we just say, put some of your money aside, and it's more fun to buy a new skateboard or a new pair of jeans or whatever when you're that age. You don't see it, but if you can explain to them how much money it's worth at the young point in their life. You know, if you take, let's be very conservative and tell a young person, hey, listen, if you give me $1,000, let's say they're 18 years old, and tell them, you give me $1,000 and I'll give you $10 a month for the rest of your life, or until you're 80 years old. How many of them would say, no, I'd rather keep the $1,000, or the ones that, or the other ones would be like, wait a minute, 10, but they would do the math real quick and be like, wow, that's over $7,000. That's between $7,000 and $8,000. I should have did the math before the thing, but it's like, so $1,000 is actually $7,000 or $8,000, or it's $1,000 now. That's, and you piss it away on whatever, buy a new car, new tires, or whatever the situation is. I mean, my point is, let's continue to. People don't like to talk about money. It's a hard topic because it's, it's, a lot of people are embarrassed. I know I was or am at times, depending on who I'm talking to, like going through how I spent my money in my 20s and early 30s, and just living above my means, paying too much in rent, not, all of the mistakes that I've made. It's tough to admit. But I think that we need to talk about it. I think that we need to, I have friends that grew up with well-to-do parents, and right from the get-go, they were, the kids were also making those same. I mean, it's a pattern that goes on, that's kind of left down through us, and depending on what how you maybe you don't. There's a lot of people that I know that they don't know themselves. How to save, how money works, how to invest, and a lot of people, they get a job and then they just put it into their 401k, and that's enough. And I don't know that it is enough. Depending on what your goals are in life, if you're not maxing out your potential investment, then that's kind of crazy, right? I mean, a lot of people are like, well, I'm just going to put 10% out, but they're allowed to put 18% in with a company match, or all the, these kinds of whatever. I mean, it could be any scenario. I'm not pretending that I know the scenarios, but yeah, let's get this conversation out there. Let's talk more about money and talk about time. Time as an asset, youth. The younger you start, the better, man. The younger you start, the better. And the younger you get your kids and young people in your life to start, they're going to thank you someday. They might be annoyed right now. And I don't know that I could say to force them to do it. I mean, that's rough, but it's certainly, and if you don't know how to or what to put your money in, like, if you'd say, well, I don't want, I tell my kids just to save it, but they're earning 1% in a savings account. That's not very much, and you're right, that's not. There are better places to put your money, and we're going to have, excuse me for the ums and ahs, getting excited here. We're going to have people on. We're going to talk about finance. We're going to talk about these the options and ways to go about putting your money into safer assets that can create a retirement, a passive income, all of a savings account, all of these, a savings, a cushion, a life net, all the things that you hope. You see somebody that's doing well in life and you're like, man, must be nice. Well, you can be that person. Everybody can be that person. So we're going to learn about that, and that's. But I wanted to talk about time today, and talk about how we're going to dive into these topics as time goes on. And youth and young is the key to later returns. You can get your money. The younger you are, the younger you start. Wow! Use the lily pad riddle. Think about the answer. If you haven't come up with the answer yet, I'll tell you what the answer is in the next episode. But that's my time for today. Thank you for listening. This is the 1218 Show. My name is Mike Wilson, and I am looking forward to another episode in another week. All right, have a great day, and thank you for your time. I know it's precious. Peace.